hear that? How often do we say that? Question is, or the trick is now, when do we hear it? How many times we say it? Really, when you think about it, that is kind of pointless. What really marks the difference, that when we say that God will make a way, it's that we believe that He will make a way. Many times we ask why. Why do good things, why do bad things happen to good people? Why why do the good die young? Why are we constantly obsessed looking for the fountain of youth, those of us that are old? We're 50, but we want to look like we were in our 20s or in our 30s. And what's worse, we want to perform at that same level. Man is constantly searching to, how shall we say, to better himself. And the thing is, I heard a preacher once say, it's not how much you trust God, but it's how much God trusts you. I'm going to read from the book of Job, chapter 1. And I'm going to read verse 8. Let's see if I can put it up on the screen. Okay. Where do you worship? Oh, there it is. I'm going to go to Job chapter 1, verse 8. And the Lord said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that fears God and shuns evil? A lot of people, a lot of preachers, a lot of Christians, they have this big debate over what caused Job's trial, or who caused it. Was it Job? Was it? And the thing, it wasn't Job, it wasn't the devil. Here we read where God tells Satan, have you considered Job? Have you seen my boy Job down there on the earth? The way he lives, what he does and what not. And from here on out, I'll be paraphrasing the conversation between Satan and God. And well, Satan says, well, you know, he has all this money, he has all these riches, he has all these kids, all this stuff that you have given him. Of course he's going to serve you. Of course he's going to be an upright man. Of course he's going to worship you. And you know what? Not in Job's case, but unfortunately nowadays there's lots of people and worldwide that serve the Lord because of what He can do for them, or what He has done for them. Because He gave them a job, because He gave them a breakthrough, and they got a windfall of money. You know, there are so many reasons. But here we see the Lord and God tells Satan, that's okay, no problem. He says, he serves you because you've given them all this. Now touch all that, take it away, and you'll see how he curses you. And God tells him, okay, go. Do your best. Take it, everything, take all away. But do not touch him. That goes to show us that even when stuff is going down in our lives, even when stuff is happening, God still remains in control. And one day, Job is, his sons and daughters are celebrating, they're having a big birthday party, and all of a sudden they get killed by their enemies. His oxen, all his riches, all his herds, everything he had was taken to him in one day. Not only that, but fire fell from heaven and burned his sheep also. And everyone that said, Master, this has happened, it was bad news on top of bad news, bad news on top of bad news, bad news on top of bad news. Job, being who Job was, Job gets upset. See, because a lot of people say, oh no, you can't get upset. You have to be joyful. The joy of the Lord is your strength, etc., etc., etc. If you're going through trials and whatnot, you have to smile, grin in the face of the devil. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. You just got to keep going. You got to keep moving forward. But you don't have to be cracking jokes and whatnot, because it's not a situation to crack jokes in. So Job gets upset. He rips his clothes off. Shaves his head in mourning. That's what they did back then in Israel. And he fell to the ground because the anguish was so much. But what he does when he hits the ground, it's what sets him apart from the normal guy. That's why we were saying it's not so much how much you trust God, it's how much God trusts you. When he falls to the ground, he starts worshiping. All this mess of bad news. He lost all his children, all his herds, all his sheep, all his ox, everything, all his riches, everything he had in one day. And he falls to the ground. He's hurting. But when he falls to the ground, he worships. And he says, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, the Lord took away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. How many of us have that same disposition, and not even 1% of what happened to Job has happened to us or is happening to us? But we have a frown on our face. We were singing a while back, God will make a way where there is no way. And it's fine to say that. But like I was saying yesterday while I was preaching at the Star of Bethlehem, the gospel, serving the Lord, it's a matter of conviction. It's not so much that I go to church, or that the Lord bless me with a brand new car, bless me with a house, bless me with a wife, bless me with beautiful kids. It's not that. Now see, even if we should lose that, we should worship the Lord and serve the Lord because of what the song says, because of who you are. Because of who you are. Not because of what you've done for me. Even before you gave me a job, even before you gave me college, even before you gave me a mommy and a daddy, you gave me a wife, you gave me a house and whatnot. Even before all that, when I was a little itty bitty baby, you created me in my mother's womb. And you made sure I didn't have to come out with 10 fingers. I didn't have to come out with 10 toes. I didn't have to come out coherent. But even then, you caused a minor miracle to happen. You created life out of nothing. So, I got to worship you because you are Jehovah Jireh. Because you are Jehovah Shiloh. Because you are Jehovah Shalom. Because you are all those things. That's why I need to worship you. That's why I need to praise you. Not because of what you've given me. And this is where it gets kind of confusing for a lot of people. Because they're like, see, when you praise and when you serve God because of what He is and what He's done, because even though you have multiple sclerosis, you're still walking around. He still gives you strength to walk around. That even though you have PTSD, you still can function even if you have a dog. That if you have a TBI, the Lord will put you back together enough so that you remember that you have a TBI. People will see that you have a TBI, but you can still function. Those are miracles in themselves.